So I know a bunch of you just joined, but my name is Noah Barnett, and I lead marketing here at Cosbox. Prior to joining Cosbox, I spent 6.5 years running growth and marketing at an international humanitarian nonprofit and was actually a Cosbox customer. Now in my new role, I love the opportunity I have here at Cosbox to leverage that experience and invest it in sharing the best practices in fundraising and marketing insights with you all and many others through our blog and our webinars and our podcast that we have called Rally and Engage. I'm also joined today by Rob Wu, the CEO of Cosbox. Hi, Rob.
Hey Noah. Hi guys, I'm Rob Wu, CEO of Cosbox. I've spoken on crowdfunding and online fundraising at places like the Nonprofit Technology Conference, South by Southwest, the Clean Global Initiative, social media for nonprofits, as well as just dozens of other places too. I'm super excited just to share with you the latest learnings that I have on Giving Tuesday, as well as the latest best practices that we've seen from campaigns on our platform. But what really matters is that I personally raised over $200,000 through crowdfunding for social causes that I love, and I'm excited just to share with you some tips and techniques on how you can be successful.
Thanks, Rob. I agree. I'm really excited for us to share this. And, Giving Tuesday is far away, but what we've seen, especially as we've talked to others that have run successful campaigns, is planning is key. So what we'll be doing for the first 25 to 30 minutes today is really diving into what Giving Tuesday is. Then Rob's going to take over and talk about the 5 steps you can plan or you can use to plan a successful campaign. We'll be sharing example campaigns throughout the presentation so you can learn from real fundraising campaigns and provide you some additional takeaway resources at the end so that you can plan your campaign further after today's webinar. Then we'll dive into a 15-minute Q&A, giving you the opportunity to ask questions live. And then after the webinar today, around 1:15 Eastern time, for anyone interested, we'll actually be taking 15 or 20 minutes to be sharing a live demo of Cosbox's fundraising platform and showing you really how you can use it to power your Giving Tuesday campaign this year. As a friendly reminder for those just joining us, but then also those new to the webinar, you can always ask questions throughout the webinar using the questions pane in GoToWebinar, or you can ask questions via Twitter by tagging Cosbox and hashtag GivingTuesday. We'll be addressing all those questions at the end of the presentation during the 15-minute Q&A. Now, we have one more question because, again, we just want to make sure that we understand who's on the webinar today. And so we would love to know, what role do you play in your organization? Are you in marketing? Are you in fundraising or development? Are you an ED, an executive director, an executive leader, or a volunteer or a board member? We want to know. And it looks like most of everyone participating today is leaning towards the fundraising and development department. We have a lot of leaders. We have a lot of people in marketing and communications. We have board members and even other. Whether you're a volunteer or you are trying to just raise money for a personal cause or even just figuring out how your business can get involved in Giving Tuesday. So that's great. One more friendly reminder before we get started. This webinar is going to be recorded, and you'll be receiving those slides, the recording, and the free resources we have at the end of the presentation. But before we dive into today's content, we just want to share a little bit more about what we do here at Cosbox. Cosbox is a simple yet powerful online and mobile fundraising software. We allow you to easily launch simple donation pages, crowdfunding campaigns, or even peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns for seasons like Giving Tuesday or really any fundraising campaign throughout the year. We keep things hassle-free and flexible, no contracts, and allowing you to customize the branding and feel of your campaign without coding or a designer, and give you really pro-level tools for you to automate your donation receipts, offer recurring giving, and even track the most relevant details about your donors and donations. And most importantly, what we've seen really effective for Giving Tuesday campaigns is the power of personalized fundraising pages and team pages. And you can do all of that through Cosbox's tool. So I know we've dove into the agenda already for today. And again, just to reiterate for those that joined us, we're going to dive into what is Giving Tuesday, 5 steps to run a successful campaign this year, We'll provide you some free resources at the end. At around 1:05, we'll have live question and answer, which you can submit questions in the questions pane of your GoToWebinar. And then after the presentation at about 1:15 Eastern time, we're going to be doing a live product demo for anyone else or anyone that's interested in hanging with us. So what is Giving Tuesday? 4 years ago, the 92nd Street Y in New York City, where our headquarters is based actually, and the United Nations Foundation wondered how they could really bring back the spirit of giving to the holiday season and cut through all the extra noise. We have Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but there was really not a day dedicated to charitable giving. And so that's exactly what they created. They created Giving Tuesday, a one-day annual movement focused just on charitable giving for the world's most important causes. This year's Giving Tuesday campaign will be hosted on Tuesday, November 29th. Now, I'm curious, how many people joining our webinar today have run a Giving Tuesday campaign before? You can go ahead and submit your answer using the poll. We're just curious if this is your first time. Maybe you ran a campaign last year. Maybe you've been running a campaign every year. Incredible. Yeah, it's exactly what we thought. The majority of people on today's webinar have not run a campaign, and this is going to be great for you. But then a lot of people have ran a campaign last year, and we're going to dive into ways that you can really improve your campaign and kind of raise more money and reach more supporters this year. So over the past 4 years, Giving Tuesday has really taken off. In 2015 alone, there was 700,000 donors who gave online. That's incredible. And more incredible than that, it provided $16 million in funding for the causes that participated. So those that, they haven't run a campaign yet this year, we're expecting 2016 to be even bigger. And you have the opportunity to be a part of that. And the stat I think is the most interesting that came out of the 2005 stats was that 50% of all donors that gave last year were between the ages of 31 and 55. This means that the day is not just a day of giving for millennials or the digital natives, but is a key giving day for Generation X and baby boomers. So anyone out there that has leadership or they have other people in their organization that are saying, that's just a day for, young people and it's really not in our target supporters, use this fact because 50% were above the age of 31, which is really incredible. Now that we've covered what Giving Tuesday is all about, Rob is going to take the next few minutes to really dive into the core of the presentation and share 5 steps you can follow to plan your Giving Tuesday fundraising campaign. Rob?
All right, thanks, Noah. So super excited to share some 5 steps with you guys. So the first step of launching a successful Giving Tuesday campaign is setting a goal. So if you don't align your supporters, your board members, your volunteers all towards one singular point, then they're not going to move in the right direction. So you'll be just herding cats and trying to get things done, and soon you'll notice that Giving Tuesday has come and it's gone. So the most important part of being successful in Giving Tuesday is setting a goal. But then when you look at other nonprofits and other campaigns, they set a goal easily. Some of them set a goal of $10,000, some of them set a goal of $50,000, some of them set a goal of $1 million. So there's a wide variety of different goals out there. And how do you really set it? And where do these people get their numbers from? So very easily, we see 3 different ways, 3 easy ways that you can set a Giving Tuesday goal. The first one is to look at prior campaigns. What kind of campaign have you launched in the past? And how much did you raise? And use that as a benchmark, as a starting point to determine how much you want to raise this year for Giving Tuesday. A second example is to look at outside examples. So to look at charities and nonprofits that are similar size to you, similar demographic as you, as well as have a similar resourcing and structure as you, and then look at how much they've raised in the past and use that as a benchmark to what you can raise. And very lastly, there's also what we call cost of impact. What is the impact goal that you want? Do you want to help 1,000 people, 10,000 people? How much does it cost to really help those people? And then use that as a goal for your Giving Tuesday campaign.
Yeah, and
here's just an example.
Great example of this is what World Bicycle Relief, which is an organization that ran an effective campaign last year to raise enough money to provide 800 bikes. And they knew exactly how much each of those bikes cost, which was $147. And so they made their fundraising campaign a factor of that. So that was very clear for their supporters on Giving Tuesday that everyone was rallying behind this one goal of providing 800 bikes to people in need.
Yeah, that's a great point. So, if some of you might be saying to me, hey, we don't have a unit measure that we can use. We're not really set up that way as a nonprofit. I get that feedback all the time. So, another formula-based approach is that you can take the average donation of Giving Tuesday. Last year, it was about $107, and then you multiply it by the number of donors that you typically get as part of an online campaign. Multiply those two things together, and then that can be your Giving Tuesday goal. So another great formula-based approach. Now, you might be thinking, well, all of those four approaches just don't work for me. So what you can do is you can take a progressive goal, meaning that first you set a highly achievable goal. Let's say that you'll raise $5,000 or $10,000, and then after you easily achieve that goal, let's say halfway through Giving Tuesday, then you bump it up by 10 or 20% so that you get something additional, and then you follow that cycle until the campaign is over. So a couple different ways you can do it. On CauseVox, our fundraising platform, you're able to change your goal anytime, so that progressive goals are something that we see very common as a great way just to have that urgency and to incentivize people to help you reach the targeted goal. So that's step one, setting a goal. Step two is to create a fundraising appeal that really resonates with your audience. Your fundraising appeal is the story or the content that draws people into your campaign. It can be a video, it can be photos, it can be a combination of a video and photos and text as well. So one of the things that we're going to do in this section to help you better understand how to create a fundraising appeal is to really dissect one example from last year of a small Giving Tuesday campaign. This was the first year running Giving Tuesday, a nonprofit called Casa Copan, and what they do is they help kids in Honduras reach their dreams. So we'll go over this example. What you see on the screen right now is their Giving Tuesday campaign from last year. And we'll dive a little deeper into how they were successful in writing a fundraising appeal and how they were able to raise more than what they wanted to. So in terms of a fundraising appeal, one of the things that people even ask before they write the text is, should I create a video? And the short answer is yes, you should. We've seen that the campaigns that have a video tend to raise more funds than the campaigns that don't. So what we'll do a little later on in our webinar is go over a few tips on creating a video. But then once you kind of create that video, how do you really create a fundraising appeal that sits on your page? That when someone goes to it, they read it, they're drawn in, and they want to help you take action. So, and this is how you do it. You kind of break it up into different components. So the first component is the one-liner. We call this the main heading that occurs when someone visits your page and they see this one line or two lines that really incentivizes them to read more about what you guys do as well as Giving Tuesday campaign. The second part is a problem solution. This is basically, what are you trying to solve? Like, what is the issue at hand? Why should people really care? And how are you solving it? This is kind of the narrative and the story where you can present what the issue is or what the aspiration is and how you guys are helping to achieve that. And very lastly is the call to action. This is basically what happens when after someone reads your one-liner, reads your problem solution, and wants to help, and what do you want them to do? So we'll go over that in just a little bit. So just to kind of dissect those a little bit more, give you some examples that you guys can actually copy and follow. So here are some example one-liners. So this is the heading that happens. So let me just kind of point that out just so people are clear. The one-liner occurs right over here. This is your one-liner right over here. Bear with me, I'm using a mouse and I can't draw correctly. So example one-liners. So here's a few one-liners. So for example, the first one is, the struggle is now, a campaign in support of a fair and just New Orleans. I love this one because it has a sense of urgency where there's an issue where people can take part of. Another one is, Number two, join hashtag Team Hope for New York to support the poor and marginalized in New York City. I love this one because not only do they make their campaign social with their own hashtag, but also is really relevant too. Relevant to a regional perspective, so that when people see this and if they live in New York City, then they're more drawn to it. Number three, here's one called Walk the Wall 2016 is here. You can be part of ICC, changing the lives of China's abandoned and disabled. Together, we've made so much progress, yet there are still significant obstacles for so many, and you can help. This is a great, exciting one-liner where you give proof of what your program is and how you've helped people, but also you're inviting them to read more about your campaign. And very lastly, there's an approach where you can take where it's more open-ended, and it says, number four is, do you believe that all animals should be treated with respect and compassion? Kind of helping people get started with a one-liner through a rhetorical question. When it relates to Kazakhstan, what they did is their one-liner was, make dreams come true on Giving Tuesday. Double your donation. Donations up to $1,500 will be matched. So what they do is that they position their one-liner as more aspirational, and then they also incentivizes the readers to say, hey, your donations will actually double if you donate. So that's a great intro to draw people in. So after you draw people in, then you want to present the problem and solution as part of your fundraising appeal. So here's an example from another small nonprofit. And I'll just read it out. So studies show that 3 to 6 p.m. is a formative time for kids. After school provides a place for kids to continue learning in the community while also providing opportunities to explore and develop their gifts and talents. So it's just saying that after school, the afternoon is a really important period of time. And then the solution is that their after-school program currently serves 30 kids, and they're on a mission to expand their offerings to hundreds of kids in the neighborhood and also the middle school program. So they're saying that we want to scale out the programs that's effective. So as you're thinking about your fundraising appeal, think about what is the problem that you're trying to solve, or what is the aspiration that you have that you want to give people, and how are you presenting it, and how are you inviting people to participate in making that change. And just moving forward one more. When it's tied to Costa Copan, how they presented it is more aspirational. So they focused on the positive. So they're helping kids in Honduras. So Sister wants to be a doctor, Gomo a cashier at a bank, Gabriel a computer engineer, Katia wants to be a teacher so she can teach other kids what she knows. And 5-year-old Zolita can't wait to grow up to become a fireman. So very aspirational goals that the kids have. And then the solution is that they want you to really imagine and visualize it so you can help be a part of it. So they say, imagine a place where you're taught not just to dream, but where you can find the support, resources, and mentors to actually make those dreams come true. That's Casita Copan. So they presented the problem solution as more aspirational, which is a great way to focus on helping someone visualize what they can do by making a donation. So after you draw someone in, after you have them visualize the impact that can happen, then you want to present several calls to action. So typically the calls to action are to donate, to share, and to fundraise. Donate is very simple. It's to make a donation directly to your Giving Tuesday campaign through your Giving Tuesday donate button or Cosbox campaign site. Secondly, it could be to share. So to share on social media as well as share on email. And very lastly, to help you fundraise. So we've seen a lot of organizations for Giving Tuesday, they use peer-to-peer fundraising through personal fundraising pages, and the supporters can help them carve out a small chunk of the Giving Tuesday goal, create their personal fundraising page, and then send it out to their friends and family very easily so they can raise donations as well as extend their reach and bring in new donors. So here's an example.
Yeah, this is a great example from the organization I actually used to work for, and shows you how they really leveraged all three aspects of the call to actions that Rob just talked about. Presenting the opportunity to easily give now. There's many people that are just going to want to support your campaign, and presenting that really easily is really important. They can create a fundraising page, get involved, or they can share the campaign through any of their social media accounts or even by email, which is a great opportunity for people to take action, even if they can't contribute financially to your campaign.
Yeah, that's a great point. So when you have call to actions built in to your online giving site, then that presents a persistent opportunity for someone to help contribute to your Giving Tuesday campaign. In addition to that, what you can do is you can actually build in a call to action directly into your fundraising appeal as different text. So when someone's reading your story, reading your one-liner, your problem solution, they can easily just be on-ramped into specific things that they can do. So here's just an example. So you guys can actually copy this and put it into your fundraising appeal for Giving Tuesday. So you can write down, one, share, post this Giving Tuesday campaign with the hashtag by clicking on the specific share buttons. Two, you can help fundraise by clicking on that specific button. Or three, you can make a donation. And super importantly, it's always good to give a reference point of what is an average donation, what is something that you guys want people to do. Is it $25? Is it $75? Is it $100? What is the specific donation? The more specifics you're able to give from call to actions, then the more success people will have in completing that call to action for you. If we go back to the Casa Compound example, this is their call to action. They mentioned, please join us today and make dreams come true. Here's an example of how your donation will help. They give an example. And then they also give another call to action by saying, create your own fundraiser for Giving Tuesday. Share your page with friends, family, and coworkers to spread the word. So they're inviting people to join the cause, to join the Giving Tuesday campaign, and sending out to their networks as well. Also, very lastly, when you think about creating a fundraising appeal that resonates, it's always difficult to make the fundraising appeal perfect. So one of the things that you can do is put in a footnote. So if people want more info, if they have questions about your organization or your programs or what is Giving Tuesday, then they can always contact you directly. So you can have something, so you can have an opportunity to answer some of those questions and to nurture them to become donors for your organization. So step two, create a fundraising appeal. Step one is have a goal. Now, what is step three? Step three really is more of a marketing issue. So what you want to do is that you want to create compelling content. A lot of campaigns struggle with how they really get publicity and awareness during Giving Tuesday. A lot of stuff is going on. Sometimes it's the first campaign. For a lot of you on this webinar today, you'll be running Giving Tuesday for the first time. And for the majority of you in that subset, it might even be your first crowdfunding campaign or your first peer-to-peer campaign. So when you're in that, first stage, raising awareness about your Giving Tuesday campaign really is a marketing issue. So we see it as this. So let's say you build out your Giving Tuesday fundraising site. What you need to do next is to create lots of content so people are really drawn to it and direct people towards it. One of the things that I hate seeing is when a Giving Tuesday campaign always just says, hey, please donate, please donate, please donate. What happens is that your networks, as well as people who follow the Giving Tuesday hashtag, get overwhelmed by all the asks that people have, so that they tend to ignore some of those call to actions. What you want to do is actually create really compelling content and drive people so they're very interested in the story of what you guys do. So in order to create compelling content, there's a lot of things you can do. Today, what I want to focus on is blog posts, social media posts, and also video too, because that's super important. So let's do that. So in terms of video, there's like a lot of great resources that you guys can look at in terms of creating a video. But when it comes to the strategy of the video, and that's what I want to take a look at today. So there's 3 parts to make a video in terms of an effective video. So the first one is that you have to be timely. This means that your video has to be relevant to the current times, meaning Giving Tuesday or year-end giving. And maybe your nonprofit recently hit a milestone, or there's something going on in the world that you can leverage. Your videos have to have a reason for the viewer to keep on looking at it, as well as the audience to really take action. So it has to be timely. So when you use a generic video that you made 3 years ago, your programs and projects and how you talk about your organization, as well as the impact stories, may be really different than what actually has been happening. So be timely with your videos. If possible, create a new one just for Giving Tuesday and year-end giving. The second best practice is that your video has to have focus. So a lot of times when we look at videos from nonprofits, they have 10, it's 10 minutes long with 10 different programs, 10 different projects, with 10 different people talking. So it's really hard to get a very coherent story. So when you look at a campaign video for Giving Tuesday, typically it is focused on a singular idea or a story. So it's a great idea to keep it focused on one storyline or one individual that your organization is helping, and then use that as a way to really draw in the viewer so they really understand the message of change that you have. And very lastly, impact. So when you share a client or supporter story of how they've been transformed or how they've changed through some of your programs, then that is what we call an impact story. So when you focus your story from the lens and perspective of someone who you have helped, then that's a lot more effective than if you guys just talk about it as executive directors or as development directors. So an intersection of those three video best practices that actually leads you to what I call the perfect campaign video. So moving on to blog posts. So blog posts is another medium that you can use to drive traffic and donations to your campaign site. Typically, there's two types of blog posts. The first one, they're impact stories, so stories of change and transformation. And then secondly, news and updates on your campaign progress. So you raised 50%, you raised 100%, that kind of thing. Here's an example that Noah's going to go over about an impact story from a blog post.
Yeah, again, this is a blog post that we shared. As many of you guys have heard, the migrant crisis and just the crisis going on in the Middle East is a really big deal. And so we've had a lot of people when I was working at World Help contribute to that. And so we really wanted to take that opportunity and put out a blog post from our blog team to share what the impact was, but not only just to share about the impact we've had, but how we can have more impact in the future. And that really helped us drive fundraising as we led up to our Giving Tuesday campaign that year.
Next, here's another example from a Giving Tuesday campaign as well. This is from a small nonprofit, the Asian and Pacific Islander American Health Forum. And basically, this is a first-person account. It's a narrative of how Roxana has been affected and why she joined the organization and the change that she saw. So this is a first-person account, which is a great way to really drive an impact story. Other ways too they can use are testimonials from donors or testimonials from people that you've helped, or something more narrative of why someone works for the organization. So kind of using any type of proof to show that you guys make an impact. Those kind of stories are super powerful, and we call those impact stories. Another type of blog post update that you can use. Here's an example from Grade 2K. They're a small nonprofit in the Northeast, and this example is actually from their CauseVox campaign site. So when you are running a Giving Tuesday campaign, a lot of the successful campaigns on our platform, they actually post blog updates. So they use storytelling and as a way to drive donations. So when you post these blog updates to your campaign site, like you reach your goal or you have a matching grant, then that just allows you to drive a lot of people towards your fundraising site. So you can easily do this on CauseVox as well. So one of the blog post updates that you can do is goal reaching, 25%, 50%, 100%. Another blog update that you can do as part of the Giving Tuesday campaign is it's kind of the same thing, but adding a little more visual to it. This is another update to how this organization, how much they've raised, and how they're thanking their donors as well, which is a great way just to build donor loyalty. Another medium that you can use is social media. So Giving Tuesday is a hashtag, so what that encourages you to do is to be present on Facebook and Twitter so that people can view your campaign with that Giving Tuesday hashtag. But a lot of times, as I mentioned before, people tend to not really understand how social media works. So on social media, if you always ask people to donate to your campaign, if that's the only thing you ask for, that's the same thing as if you see a company always asking you to buy their product or service without giving you anything entertaining or educational. So if it's always an ask, you won't get a donation. So when we talk to some of the successful campaigns on CauseVox or Giving Tuesday, But one of the techniques that they use is that they say 80% of our social media posts are educational, entertaining, or inspirational, meaning that they're used to make people happy and to entertain people and to share a story. So these stories can be about your organization and about your impact, but they don't have a specific ask attached to it. And then 20% of the social media posts are what we call more salesy. They're actual call to action saying, hey, we have a matching donation, please donate. Or we're launching Giving Tuesday, 50% towards a goal, please donate. Kind of using that kind of breakout. Once you have that breakout, then people will actually start to pay attention to you. And the cool thing you'll see is, especially on Facebook, you'll be able to see your metrics increase as well. Where if you look at each post and how many people you reached, when you share more entertaining, educational, and inspirational content, you'll see your reach increase actually compared to just having blanket donation asks. Here's an example from Project Aware. This is an entertaining social media post. It's a cartoon. It makes people laugh. People share it. So it's something that makes it interesting as well as raises awareness about your organization. Here's another example from World Bicycle Relief. They've used an inspirational story about one of their supporters and what she's doing and how you can learn more about her. So this is a social media post that is super effective as it provides a different perspective to the organization. And very lastly, here's an ask. So this is a Giving Tuesday ask that this organization presented on Giving Tuesday for people to make a donation. So what I encourage you guys to do is to post more related to kind of the entertaining posts like Project Aware or the inspirational posts like Bicycle Relief, and then from there, once you're ready, to make an ask through a social media post. Great, so step 3 is to create compelling content. So after you have compelling content, what do? You'd want to rally your tribe. But a lot of people are asking, what is a tribe? That's something we haven't heard about in a long time. A tribe is basically the groups, the supporters that drag your friends to your event. They share your latest news about your nonprofit, and they create fundraising pages on your crowdfunding or online fundraising campaign. They're your true believers. They're the people that support your organization, that love what you do. They're really tied to how you guys create impact. And they're crucial to the success of your Giving Tuesday campaign. They're actually the linchpins that help get it off the ground, as well as help spread the message. So a few responsibilities of these people as you form them is that they seed your campaign with donations, with awareness, with stories. They amplify your reach as well because they're able to share it on their own social media channels. And very lastly, they get other people involved, either through volunteer opportunities or through personal fundraising pages. And one of the secret tools that a lot of the Giving Tuesday campaigns on our platform use is called personal fundraising pages. So once you identify a group of supporters that you think is your tribe, then you can present an opportunity for them not to donate, but to actually help you fundraise. So it's kind of taking the ask in a different way. So personal fundraising pages are individualized crowdfunding pages that people can create as part of a Giving Tuesday campaign or any campaign in general, where they can put up their photo, write their own personal fundraising appeal, and then share it with their friends and family. And the great thing is that we've seen that the campaigns that use personal fundraising pages tend to raise twice as much as the campaigns that don't. And the main reason why is because through personal fundraising pages, people are advocating for you. They're sharing their social media channels, with their email, with their friends. So it's a great way just to augment and increase the amount of donations that you'll get. But how do you really get a tribe? It's super simple. There's 3 steps. First, you just want to identify and ask. So look at the people that attend your events, that open your emails, and then put them on a specific list, and just ask them if they want to join you in doing something, something new, something great for Giving Tuesday. Secondly, you want to empower people. So for control freaks, this is, you kind of have to let go a little bit and just say, hey, let's identify a few captains of our tribe, and let's give them the authority to create a campaign to really go out there and advocate. So you want to empower people with the right authority. And very lastly, continue cultivating by presenting them with encouragement, with stories, with just progress updates as well, because they are your select group of tribe members. And here's just an example. This is Kristen Pierce's personal fundraising page that she created for Guess a Coupon, you'll notice that she raised $1,200, almost $1,300. And then the total raise for their Giving Tuesday campaign was over $6,000. So she made a huge difference through this. So if Kristen can do this, then you guys have a Kristen at your nonprofit and your organization, or even more than one of them. So you can really leverage their passion and their networks in order to drive more Giving Tuesday success to your campaign. So step 4 was to rally a tribe, and step 5 is to really leverage press and partnerships. I'm going to hand this over to Noah.
Yeah, no, thanks, Rob. And I think the thing about press and partnerships is it really allows you to amplify your campaign and take it outside of your own community of supporters and drive your campaign either further into your local community that you serve, or even just the specific area or cause that you advocate for. But the one point of warning is that you do not want to do step 5 if you do not have the capacity. You only want to do this if you have the capacity. So if you've done steps 1 through 4 effectively, you've planned properly, you've rallied people around your cause that are going to really advocate for you, then you can dive into this. So the first step is really, how do you get press and publicity? One thing that you have to do is you really have to target specifics. You can't just blast out your press release on Giving Tuesday and think that press outlets are going to be really excited that you're holding a Giving Tuesday campaign, because there's a lot of organizations holding a Giving Tuesday campaign. So you really need to target either using a journalist search or targeting specific publications that are dedicated to the cause that you're advocating for. Or if you serve a local community, even just getting local press can be really impactful to expand your reach. And I've seen organizations leverage that on a regular basis, including the one that I'm on the board of, an arts organization, and we leverage press all the time, but it's very specific, very targeted to the community that we serve. Even though it doesn't have a huge reach, it helps us expand. The other thing is really just prepare. So a lot of people say, I want to get press, I want to get press. Ask yourself, why is this newsworthy? Why should a journalist really write about you? Why would her audience or his audience really want to read that article? Come up with a pitch that makes sense for the specific targets. And so this is why it takes a lot of work, because you have to really target specifically people that you're interested in or think you might be interested in your campaign, and then prepare kind of a custom pitch for them and why they should care and why they should write about it. Journalists are always looking for the story. And so don't make them try to uncover that themselves. Really present the story and how you do your pitch. And really the last thing is the pitch. Like, contact the journalist, be confident, tell them your story, and give them more details about your campaign. The second aspect of step 5 is really to look at partnerships. And a lot of people talk about how during Giving Tuesday, obtaining a matching gift is the best way to drive campaign engagement. And that's true. We see matching gifts leveraged a lot. And matching gifts can come from a variety of different sources. We've seen them come from individual major donors of a campaign, where they've already dedicated a set amount of money that they're going to give to your organization. And you can reach out to them and ask if they would designate a specific amount of it as a matching gift, or even a challenge gift to drive donations up on Giving Tuesday. The other way that you can form partnerships is by finding businesses to help leverage your networks for your Giving Tuesday campaign, or even thinking about the local organizations in your community that you could partner up with. It's actually a lot easier to get press and other partnerships and sponsorships from business and other interest groups besides just your key supporters if it seems bigger than just your organization. So that means you have to play nice with other organizations in your community. But if you can rally together and really make this day about, it's your city coming together to support the local causes, and the charities are aligning and they're really pushing that from a press standpoint, you might have better luck securing partnerships and securing press. There's a bunch of other different ways that you can form partnerships. You can develop relationship with media outlets in a variety of different ways, like we talked about. You can reach out to local marketing agencies and ask if they would sponsor your campaign with just helping you do advertising for the campaign, or even reach out to influencers or celebrities that are in your specific cause or local community that care, and ask them to advocate. They can be a part of your tribe. So that kind of summarizes the 5 steps. And I know we've gone a little bit longer, but we wanted to make sure that we finished out those, because those steps are really the most important thing. So really, just to kind of summarize, like, step 1 is set a clear campaign goal. Step 2, craft a fundraising appeal that's really going to resonate with your supporters. Step 3, create compelling content around your campaign to drive. A lot of times people create a campaign and just expect people to show up. That doesn't happen very often. And so you really need to create content around your campaign that are going to help people drive back towards it. Then, like Rob said, rally your tribe. Every organization on this call has at least one person, if not tens of people, that love what you do. And I think asking people to get involved in a new and interesting way, and maybe that is Giving Tuesday, maybe that is advocating, and bringing them into the fold early and getting them excited can really help expand your reach. And then obviously leveraging press and partnerships is a way for you to really amplify your campaign. Now, we have a few free resources for you. So in addition to the recording of this webinar and the slides, we're also going to be sending you a free Giving Tuesday campaign planning guide. So it dives into pretty much everything we've talked about today in much more detail, and it'll be very helpful as you build out your campaign. We'd also like to offer everyone participating in this webinar the opportunity to launch their Giving Tuesday campaign on CauseVox for free. We don't have any monthly fees until you raise more than $5,000 on our platform. So it's a great opportunity for those that haven't run a Giving Tuesday campaign and really need all the tools to kind of help facilitate a successful campaign to do that. And so you can learn more about that and get started at causevox.com. And also, we have a few other links that we'll send you that dive into various subjects that Rob talked about. But I definitely want to dive into the live question and answer. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So again, just as a reminder, you can submit questions using the questions pane in GoToWebinar to submit your questions. And we're going to kind of dive into those and dialogue on some, and maybe even clarify some of the topics that we talked about. So Rob, I'm seeing a bunch of questions come in now, and we had some questions from the beginning. But a few people have asked, when should you get started? When should you start promoting your campaign? How early is too early? And I know in my case, when we were thinking through this at the organization I was at, was it's never too early to start planning. But one thing that you do is you segment communication. So you don't want to start blasting your email list about Giving Tuesday 3 months ahead of time, asking them to think about giving in the future, because usually you have something else going on in that period of time. But I think what is really important is start communicating with those key advocates, start crafting your campaign really early. And then once you get, for us, it was a little bit different. But we started reminding people that Giving Tuesday was coming up, especially those that had participated in previous years, about a month ahead of time, and then 2 weeks out, and then a week out, and then the day before, and then the morning of. So we had 4 communication that went out to our supporters to remind them of that and really tell people that we were participating in this. But again, that's just announcing your campaign to the public, not planning. Planning really starts today. We're almost, a little bit over 100 days out from the campaign. And for everyone on this that has run a successful campaign, it does take a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that approach. Basically, the general recommendation that I give to nonprofits that are to ask that question is that you should start promoting Giving Tuesday right after your last fundraising initiative ends. So every nonprofit is different. They have a different fundraising calendar. But let's say typically a lot of organizations run some type of September campaign, some type of fundraising event in September/October. So right after that ends, then your communications plan that you thought about beforehand should actually start executing right at that moment, where you start rallying those key advocates, your tribe members, and then you start promoting it onto your general list so that people are aware of it. That's basically the general recommendation that I have.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And it's one of those questions that really depends. So many different fundraising calendars are different for organizations, but ideally, it's plan early and do it right after your last fundraising campaign. Um, the other question we see coming through, and I think 4 or 5 people have asked, but I'll go ahead and read. Laura Brogren asked the question: how should you tie in Giving Tuesday campaign with your overall end of year giving campaigns? And this is something that I know comes up a lot because it's in the month, it's in Q4, which is a heavy fundraising time for most nonprofits. It's usually the first or right around the beginning of the last month of the year. And so does this, another one framed it differently. Is Giving Tuesday just going to take away from my year end giving and really just reallocate it to earlier in the year? Any thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people ask that year after year because they're afraid that Giving Tuesday would cannibalize their year-end giving. So it's actually the opposite. So we've seen a lot of organizations where they use Giving Tuesday as the kickoff to their year-end giving or as part of their year-end giving campaign. So we've seen a lot of organizations last year specifically, they use Giving Tuesday, which launched on December 1st or 2nd, I believe, as the kickoff thing for the year-end campaign, where they had a specific goal saying, hey, for Giving Tuesday, we're kicking these things off, and we want to raise, let's say, X amount just in one day. So a lot of people met that. And then from there, they would actually transform the Giving Tuesday campaign into the year-end campaign. So it's a great lead-in to get people excited. A lot of organizations that I've talked to actually saw a lot of great results because they got donors to donate multiple times throughout the course of year-end giving, once during Giving Tuesday and again during the last week of December. So we actually see it as something that complements year-end giving.
Yeah, and I saw the same thing when I was a nonprofit, and even as I've talked to nonprofits, is that what you're really doing is you're really getting the approval to start asking for year end money early. So Giving Tuesday gives you the opportunity to be like, hey, we're fundraising for year end. We're getting excited about this early. The other thing too is I've been at so many nonprofits or talked to so many nonprofits where they have no idea how much money is going to come in at year end until the last minute. And that's still probably going to happen. But the great thing about Giving Tuesday is if you can get people to commit early, once you get into the holiday season, people get busy and they are getting tons of communication from nonprofits, from charities, from everywhere you go. There's different campaigns from kids' schools, from religious organizations. There's a lot of strain on attention once you get into that official year end. So if you can really leverage Giving Tuesday to rally your support early, that's really, really helpful. The other thing to take into consideration is a lot of supporters see Giving Tuesday as an additional opportunity to give because it's more about the social giving movement. And for them to give towards that is for them to be a part of that and say charitable giving is important. And so I wouldn't see it as a separate opportunity. And you can still go back and ask those supporters to give again before year end, depending on how your development cycle works.
Yeah, and just to add to that, what I see is like a lot of Giving Tuesday campaigns focus on that social fundraising through its personal fundraising pages. So the specific ask from their support base is to help them fundraise instead of just to make a donation, while year-end giving is more straightforward, just make a donation. So the ask is actually very different. So the cannibalization is actually not as strong as you think it would be. And then secondly, we see a lot of organizations craft different stories as well. So where they have a different story for Giving Tuesday and a different story for year-end giving. So that way that it doesn't just overlap as much as you think it would.
Yeah, and I know there's a bunch of questions still coming in. And one of the questions that I wanted to make sure we addressed was a question from Danielle. She said, how can I be effective with Giving Tuesday when I'm just a small nonprofit with very little social media following?
Yeah, that's a great question. The two solutions that I thought about when I saw that question was first, if you're a small nonprofit with a small social media following, it's not too late to build it up. So you still have the second half of 2016 to really increase your social media presence through kind of proven techniques such as like storytelling by directing your supporters that you have other channels to it as well to follow with. So there's still time to increase your channels over there and the numbers that you have over there. Another thing that you can do is that, let's say you don't have the resources or bandwidth to do that for 2016. If you don't have that, the two kind of solutions, potential solutions I have is first, leverage like those personal networks of people. So instead of depending on your own social media channels, if you think about, like, let's say you have 100 tribe members, and each tribe member has, let's say, 1,000 Facebook friends, then potentially you're able to reach 10,000 people easily if you empower your supporters to really go out there and become your megaphone and become your street team, essentially. So that's one great way to do it. The second way to do it as well is to partner. So when you're a small organization, you always have to be thinking about, how do I leverage somebody else's audience, right? Like, how do you partner with somebody who's bigger than you, or have somebody who have someone who has a social media audience to recognize you so that their audience knows about you. So partnering can take different things. It can be with different organizations. It can be with businesses as well, local businesses specifically if your cause is very local, work really good, as well as what was the last thing? I had one last thought and it just ran out because I was reading a different question. But kind of partnering with different organizations works really well. The one thing that came back to me is to leverage social media influencers too. So, are there people that are in your network that have a social media following that's really big that you can leverage, or is there someone new that is tied to your specific cause? Or the cause category in general, and how can you work with them in order for them to direct more traffic to your Giving Tuesday campaign or to even your social media channels?
And I think the other great point too is that Giving Tuesday doesn't always have to be just about a big financial goal. You could even set a goal internally to say, we want to recruit 10 people to fundraise on our behalf. And so you have 10 supporters of your organization that you can reach out to and say, hey, Giving Tuesday's coming up. We're really excited about it. You've been a great supporter of our organization. We'd love you to take a new step, and it doesn't have anything to do with you giving. It's just about you getting involved. We've seen other organizations also just leverage their board members. So a lot of times board engagement is very hard, and getting boards to participate or coming up with creative ideas on how to get board members involved. And they actually did a challenge amongst their board and actually set up the campaign pages for them and said, each of you have this unique URL that's your personal fundraising page. You all work at businesses or you're influencers here in our community. That's why you're on our board. And you can push out your link. And then they submitted updates every couple days of out to all the board of like how everything was going, who had activated individuals to support. And it became this really exciting thing for the board to get involved with. And I know sometimes it's like, well, the board doesn't do anything. I asked them to do stuff. But knowing as a board member myself, like when there's a direct ask and it's a competition or it's a group effort that we're driving towards, we see a lot of interest and participation in those. And if you really just make it easy for your supporters or your board members to get involved, that could be a goal in itself. Diane just submitted a question that I think is really important because I don't want to get this confused that Giving Tuesday is only about social media. Social media is a very powerful way to promote Giving Tuesday campaigns. But she says, is this all about social media, or do we promote this on our website? Should we do an e-blast? And I know on my end, like absolutely. Like you would do for any other fundraising campaign, it's very important to see Giving Tuesday as a reason to ask your supporters to get involved and to support a specific cause. That should mean you really leverage social media. You can leverage email. We leveraged direct mail because when I was working at the nonprofit, we had a very high direct mail culture. We had an older supporter base that was used to giving through direct mail. And so we would do that as well. And we had people call in donations. We were using all the different channels to really drive back. But what Giving Tuesday allowed us to do was tell a consistent story and actually give us a reason to ask people to get involved within that 24-hour time period. So I think that's going to wrap up all of our questions. If there's any other questions you have, you can email me directly. It's Noah, Noah, at cosvox.com. I'd be happy to answer your questions directly via email, or you can submit them on Twitter and just be sure to tag at Cosvox, and we'll definitely reach back out to you as well. So now we're closing out the webinar, but what we want to do is take this opportunity, if anyone is interested to see how they could leverage Cosvox for their Giving Tuesday campaign, Rob's going to run through a 15 to 20 minute product demonstration.
All right, thanks, Noah. What we'll do next is take a few minutes just to show you Cosvox, just in case if you guys are interested to see how our platform works and how you can use it for Giving Tuesday. Please just give me 1 or 2 minutes just to get set up, and then we'll get started from there.
And while Rob's setting that up, I guess I'll just take the opportunity to answer a few other questions. One was about we're a self-funded organization. We're moving to community funded, and we don't have a specific goal. This was something Amy asked. Should we even get involved in Giving Tuesday? And I think Rob and I kind of addressed that, but to address it more specifically, is I think this is a great opportunity for you as self-funded organizations to really push out and even start getting your community involved. And maybe it's just asking them to give a first donation, or taking those that have already helped self-fund the organization to advocate to their communities around that day, to actually invite people in to support the initiative to help schools in a new and interesting way. The other thing with that is you could actually leverage Giving Tuesday. If you help schools specifically, you could reach out to schools and actually have them run a Giving Tuesday campaign on your behalf. So a lot of times schools or clubs or colleges have a lot of people that want to do something, but they don't necessarily have the financial means to give, but they would definitely be willing to set up a campaign and share on your behalf on Giving Tuesday. Danielle, it looks like you're asking about pricing on using Cosvox. I know Rob is going to dive into that a little bit, but if you go to cosvox.com/pricing, you can see that. You can get started and sign up using Cosvox for free and raise up to $5,000 on the platform without any monthly fees. Over and above, and that doesn't include the transaction fees that the payment processors would offer, which is we offer you to allow you to use Stripe or PayPal. But again, Rob can dig into that a little bit as he dives into the product. And if you have any specific questions about pricing, you can email Rob or email me about it after the webinar, and I'd be happy to discuss it with you further or connect you with Rob. Again, it's Noah at cosvox.com.
Great, thanks, Noah. So I'm all set up for the product demo, and I'll just take it from here. All right, so what you guys should be able to see right now on the screen share is my desktop. So you should be able to see the Cosvox website. A few things I want to point out before we start the 15-minute product demo is that we have tons of great resources. So if you go to our blog, just cosvox.com/blog, there's a lot of fundraising tips, resources, best practices. A lot of them are Giving Tuesday, but a lot of them are also applicable to running a Giving Tuesday campaign as well. So you can always go to cosvox.com/blog and browse around for some free fundraising resources. Kind of to the question that Noah mentioned before, if you're interested in our pricing, you can always go to cosvox.com/pricing, and then that'll detail out our pricing, how you can, as well as the pricing it'll be for Giving Tuesday, so you can always take a look. In terms of our demo today, there's basically 3 things I want to do. The first thing is to help you understand and look at a few of the campaigns on our platform currently, so you have a better idea of the functionality that you'll have for your Giving Tuesday campaign, and also how organizations are running it. Also, the second thing is I want to take you through to a preview of the Cosvox admin interface, so you can see how easy it is for you to create a campaign site for Giving Tuesday, as well as what it looks like for individuals to create a personal fundraising page for you if you're using peer-to-peer fundraising. So why don't we get started with that? So the first one I wanted to show you is World Bicycle Relief. This is just an example that you guys saw. This is their CauseVox campaign site that they created. Um, what we do at CauseVox is that we focus on easy customization, meaning that you can easily customize the look and feel of your campaign site without needing to know how to code. You can go in here, customize the template that we have. You don't have to code at all, and you can get it launched just within a day. So it's super fast and super easy. This is actually great for you guys who are running Giving Tuesday campaigns for their first time, as well as for the organizations that wear many hats. So you don't have to depend on an IT person or designer in order to launch a Giving Tuesday campaign. So this is our CauseVox campaign site that they created. We focus on that easy customization, meaning that they were able to go in here, put up their logo, change the background colors, put in their video, as well as to change the CTA buttons too. So if you guys wanted to put something that is donate to Giving Tuesday, then you can easily put that in instead of just having to have a generic one. On the left-hand side, we allow you to put in a video, so you can use video storytelling as a way to really drive people to make a donation. And then our right-hand side, we have different site metrics. So these site metrics are customizable. For Giving Tuesday, what you guys will focus on is having a campaign goal. Because definitely having a goal will drive more people to make a donation. And then that will count your progress against that goal as people are making donations in real time. And then also another thing that you can do too is to have an impact goal too. So if you're able to figure out, okay, it costs $147 for us to get a bike to help somebody, then once you put those figures into your CauseVox platform, then that allows you to count the number of bikes being raised. And below that area is freeform content area where you can put in any type of content, text, video, photos, just whatever you want. And if you guys are leveraging the personal fundraising pages and leveraging your tribe, then what will occur on the bottom over here is a collection of profile photos. So let me click on Jim Wood's personal page over here. So he was able to go in here, put in his name, his personal profile photo, and then set a goal of $18,000 to raise for World Bicycle Relief. And this is his personal page. So he was able to go in here, customize it, tailor it, put in a personal appeal, and then send it out to his friends and family to raise donations. Super easy. You'll notice that he drove over $10,000 to World Bicycle Relief just by having his own personal fundraising page. So you guys can have that too. Once you have your tribe members on board, then you can provide them with this opportunity to really share about their personal story, as well as share about their story that's tied to your organization. Donations are super easy as well. So when someone clicks on make a donation, a secure pop-up form appears. And we allow for lots of customization. So you can put in the specific tiers of giving that you want to have in. And then individuals can make a donation super quickly just within a few steps. There's no account required. One of the things that we also focus on is discovery. So someone can always look and find different pages that are part of your platform or different blog posts. So it's super easy for people to navigate. Just to give you a different sense, this is Redeem Ministries. They're a nonprofit based in Austin, and this is their CauseVox campaign site. You'll notice that the structure of the page looks the same, but then the look and feel is different because we allow you to easily just customize it. And one of the cool things too that I love to show people is that all of our campaigns are mobile optimized. So when someone gets your Giving Tuesday email or sees your tweet, they can always visit your campaign site. This is kind of what it'll look like on a phone, and then they can easily make a donation or create a personal page even directly from their phones. So it's super cool just to see that. And just to give you a preview of what our admin interface looks like, so I'm just going to log in into one of our demo campaign sites. And I do appreciate all of you who are still on the line and looking at our product demo. So I know that we're a little bit over time, so I do appreciate your schedules today. So when we first log in into the CauseVox admin site, let's say you want to create or manage a campaign site. What happens is you'll see a listing of all the different campaign sites that you have. And let me drill down into one of them, meaning that I'm going to go into one of my campaign sites that I have. Let me just set this up. When you first go in, you'll see a dashboard of activity. So it gives you a heads-up preview of how much you've raised, your site activity, and your site progress as well. And in that, there's other sections too, like our site designer, which allows you just to easily customize the look and feel of it, as well as some of our site settings. I'll go through those sections very quickly after the dashboard. So in the dashboard area, the main thing that I want to show you is that we track all the donations to your Giving Tuesday campaign. So when someone's making a donation, you can easily see it. And a lot of times what happens is that you might need to resend donation receipts or reassign donations. You can easily do it here. And one of the cool things that Noah mentioned was that when he ran his Giving campaign for his nonprofit, they used multiple channels, direct mail, phone calls, as well as online giving. So if you guys are following the same strategy as well, then what you can easily do for Giving Tuesday is to add in an offline donation. So let's say someone donates $10,000, a major donor. You can easily put in that donation, put in their name, and then after you click on save, then that donation would appear on your CauseVox campaign site, so people can actually see the progress that you're having. We'll also allow for recurring donations too. So Giving Tuesday is a great opportunity because you're bringing in a lot of new donors as well. So if you do this, then when you have recurring donations enabled, then it allows the donor to turn their one-time donation into a multi-month donation. And what we've seen is that the average donation for Giving Tuesday is about $107. The lifetime value of a recurring donor is over $1,700. So it's a great way for people to just turn their small donation into a major donation, essentially. We also have storytelling built into our platform. So one of the cool things is that if you're running a campaign, you can also post stories to your campaign. So if I go here, the more you tell stories, the more you post blog updates, the more you share those stories, and the more traffic and donations you'll get. So if I go to, let's say, one of this campaign's blog posts, this is a CauseVox campaign. They were able to go in here and post an update, but then you'll see as someone's reading the update, they can navigate to different sections, but then you have a persistent call to actions. So let's say someone's reading this, they're super engaged, and they want to help support. They can easily donate, join, or share their page with friends through Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, as well as their email as well. So super integrated. But back here, let me just go to one of our site designers here. A site designer is super visual, meaning that you can easily go in here and change certain parts of the campaign site. So let's say I want to change the header background to a black. Let's say I want to basically recreate the World Bicycle Release fundraising site. Then I can use our site designer, swap out this logo, put in their logo. There we go. I can change kind of the colors of the button to the red that they use. And then I can even customize this over here to donate for Giving Tuesday. And so you can easily customize it without any type of coding. That's the same with the content areas. You can easily customize it. You can insert photos, embed videos, and whatever you need in order to really tell your story. So super easy, just no coding required. And lastly, on the admin interface, we have our site settings, which are the nuts and bolts of your campaign. So we allow for lots of easy customizations. One of the cool things I want to point out is our donation tipping option, meaning that if you look at the CauseVox pricing, if you're thinking about using a platform, then platform fees and credit card fees are always a concern. So one of the things that we have built in is called donation tipping. It basically asks your donors to help cover your transaction fees. They just have to check a box on donation form, and then that'll increase their donation by a certain percentage. So what we've seen is that around 75% of donors opt into donation tipping. So you can think about it as 75% of donors want to help cover the platform fees for you. And that's a great way just to do that. And very lastly, over here, I just want to show you the donation receipt functionality too, so you can easily put in something that's more tailored towards Giving Tuesday as well into your donation processing section. So that's that. And very lastly, as in terms of our product demo, what I want to do next is just show you what it looks like if you're using peer-to-peer fundraising. Peer-to-peer fundraising is a great way for people to help you raise funds and for you to extend your network. So they just have to click on join or log in. And since I already have an account, I'm just going to log in really quickly. The idea is that you want to make it easy for your tribe members to create a personal fundraising page. So the first step when someone creates a page is they'll upload their photo, or you can even pre-fill their profile photo with something. They put in their first name and last name. As a pro level feature, we also offer custom fields if you need it. And then what we do is we easily pre-populate their fundraising appeal based on their name, so they don't have to fill this out. As well as we pre-fill their fundraising goal with something that you guys put in as well, so they don't have to fill it out either. Essentially, after this, they can just write their own fundraising appeal or use the default one. If I write my own, then it takes me to the account side for them, and they can easily see progress and go back and edit their personal fundraising page if they wanted to, as well as manage sharing and any other type of activities that they want for your personal fundraising. So that's basically our product demo today. I just want to give you guys a quick overview. If you do have specific questions, or if you want a more included, kind of more comprehensive product overview, then you can always ping me directly. I can be reached at rob@causebox.com. That's rob@causebox.com. And I'll be happy to schedule a one-on-one demo with you. We also have demo videos too. So if you go to causebox.com, you click on demo, then it takes you into an area where you can watch all of our pre-recorded demos for you to look at. And if you're interested in our pricing, I think we have a question on this, you can always go to causebox.com/pricing, and we have our pricing listing over here. But just to give you guys an overview, if you're interested in launching a simple crowdfunding campaign for GivingTuesday, then that'll fall under our starter plan. There's no monthly fees, no contracts, nothing that you're tied to. And then you only pay CauseVox a small 2.5% CauseVox transaction fee. By comparison, something like a Kickstarter or other crowdfunding platforms, they charge 5% or more. So CauseVox is highly affordable because we're geared towards nonprofits. Similar to other platforms, you're also responsible for the credit card fees through PayPal or Stripe. That's just something as a standard. And your standard fees are 2.2% plus 30 cents. If you're looking to run more of a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign, that falls under our impact plan. And that's just $49 a month, and that's month by month. And typically for GivingTuesday, we do offer a discount on this, so watch out for that. And then there's a 4.25% CauseVox transaction fee as well on every online donation, which a lot of it you can cover through the donation tipping functionality. So CauseVox, we're a great platform for GivingTuesday or for any type of online fundraising or peer-to-peer fundraising that you have. If you guys do have any other questions, feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to help, as well as to answer any questions that you have on GivingTuesday or on CauseVox. Thank you so much today for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us. And Rob shared a lot of different links that you can go to learn more about our product. I've included those in the chat pane so you can pick those up easily and click over to them. But anyways, again, just to reiterate, if you have any other questions about GivingTuesday, how to plan an effective campaign, or about CauseVox's platform, please reach out to us either at noah@causevox.com, or if you're interested to learn more about the product, you can email rob@causevox.com. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.